Here with Ryan Warner, campus athletic coordinator, head football coach for the Chapin Huskies. How you doing this afternoon, Coach?
I'm doing great. Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a strange set of circumstances, but we're doing well. How's your family holding up? Having to put up with you so much?
Oh yeah, it's going. We're all enjoying the time. Unfortunately, we're what's going on, but you got to make the best of the bad situation, and I think that's the positive light in all this is the family time that I'm able to spend. Learn a little more about my family. I didn't realize my wife was so good at video games, and and when we do board games, it's team up on dad. So my two younger boys, and we play different board games, card games, stuff like that. So it's fun spending the family time. I'm really enjoying that.
So took over as the head football coach in January, coming over from Franklin, where you'd been the offensive coordinator. Talk a little bit about that transition and how much contact you were able to have in person with your staff and players.
Yeah. So really, I got hired in late January. I had about the 6 weeks throughout February before spring break in March to evaluate staff, hire staff, evaluate players, with the limited time that we had them during the class period. So that was good to get on campus and have a form of evaluation and staff evaluation also. And then also trying to learn the new position of the campus athletic coordinator and head coach, really, where you're making the decisions, the jump from offensive coordinator, where your world is your side of the ball, and that's all you're concerned with that stuff. Now being in charge of a program as a whole, taking a step back and seeing everything. One of the bigger adjustments, I guess, was taking on the role of the campus athletic coordinator. Um, you know, DC meetings, coordinator meetings, that kind of stuff. And then also, helping with the other programs on campus with whatever they need and kind of being that line of support, for their programs when they need it. So.
Okay. Well, you are coming over from Franklin as the offensive coordinator. First time your own program, so it's going to be your brand. What is that going to look like? What are you going to hang your hat on?
The one thing that we are going to hang our hat on are our core values. We go by our championship standards, as we call them, and it's commitment, attitude, trust, discipline, and effort. And the one thing that I hope my brand is a brand of physicality and disciplined teams. That's the kind of the mantra or the framework that I'm taking from Franklin High School, from Darren Walker, who, I spent the last 10 years with and actually played for when I was a player. He was the first head coach at Chapin High School. He built that program prior to Rene Hernandez taking. And Rene did a great job, during his tenure at Chapin. But like you said, it's a new brand, and that's what I hope we stand for, is that discipline and physicality. I hope, with this, we instill with the kids, playing every play, full speed, no plays off, and giving our best effort every single play.
Okay. Well, a little bit of good news from the UIL this morning. We don't know exactly what it means, but at least there'll be, according to what we saw, some limited strength and conditioning in person allowed starting June 8th. What do you know about that so far? How do you plan on handling it as the details roll down?
Yeah, and at least the information is, at least we have a date, and we're going to have to build from there. Now, whenever they come out with the restrictions, I think that's where we're going to have to really start our planning phase. Let's see what the confinements are. Let's see what the rules are, and then let's design a program built around those rules to where we're following everything, the direction. Here in El Paso, also, we were actually in quarantine until I believe the 10th. It was extended, so we might be a little bit behind. The couple days, if they're opening on the 8th, we really won't be able to do anything until the 10th, so we'll be behind a little bit there. With that already stated, I think it was about 2 weeks ago they extended it for us because our curve hasn't necessarily flattened like the rest of the state. So again, I'm interested to see the restrictions that they're going to allow, I think it's a step in the right direction as far as giving our kids something to really work for, a target date. So when we get on our meetings with them, we can tell them, hey, we have a date that we're going to be back. Make sure you're ready. Make sure you're putting in the work today, so that when we get back, we can jump straight into summer strength and conditioning and hit the fall, running, hit the ground running.
You're a Sun City kid.
Yes, sir.
Grew up out in El Paso. Went through Chapin High School, and talk a little bit about. I mean, a lot of people don't know who Captain John L. Chapin is, but he's a local hero that was killed in World War II in Italy, awarded the Silver Star, all that. You don't have to do the history lesson part, but just talk about what it is. El Paso's kind of unique in the state of Texas. Talk a little bit about what it is like coming from there, and the kids knowing you've come from there. I mean, you come from where they come from.
Yeah. And honestly, that was one of my biggest message to them on day one is, I've been where you're at. I've sat in this locker room. I've played on this field. I've represented this school and this community. So for me, taking over this program has been a real sense of pride. And I think with anybody that, gets the opportunity to go back to their alma mater, I think it is that level of pride in your community. When I was teaching and coaching at Franklin, that's on the other side of town, the west side. I'm a Northeast kid, and I lived here. I've purchased my house here. I've been in the community, the Chapin community, just because it's meant that much to me. So I feel like they've embraced me a little more, just because they know I am, like you said, a Sun City kid, a Northeast kid, and I was the first graduating class of Chapin High School. So I was a part of that initial class that helped build the program to the level of success that we've had over the past decade or 12 years that we've been up and running as a school, or 10 years. So I do take a lot of pride in that, in the community also here, representing Chapin. Kind of going into the history lesson, that's one of the things that we've established our core values on, is what we felt Captain John L. Chapin stood for, with the 141st, and leading them into the battles in World War II is his effort, his attitude, his commitment to his regiment, and all of that.
We're good. Sorry for springing the history lesson on you there,
Oh, no,
but I actually did a little research of like who is this named for?
I was absolutely impressed.
So we're going to play football in the fall. I'm not going to hear otherwise. So we're going to play football. What are the Huskies going to look like? Who are going to be some of the stars we're going to be reading about the next day in the paper?
So we're transitioning the offense from a run-based offense. We're going into the spread, where we hope we're about 60-40 run pass. We are in the unique situation here in 1-5A Division I, where there's only 4 teams in our district. So fortunately, we've already played. We want to get to a point where we're earning this, instead of just by the amount of teams that are in our district. That's our ultimate goal. A lot of the players that have been consistent through the workouts that we're going to have a lot of stake on are offensive line up front. Fernie Martinez, Sergio Garcia, John Hernandez. These are all seniors that I think are going to lead the way. Running back, we're going to have a junior running back, and Jacob Williamson, that I think is going to carry the load in the back. And then we're going to have a quarterback, I think, that's going to tie it all together. That's going to be our D-line, receiver-wise, we're in a little bit of a rebuild there. We're going to lean on some young skills, some sophomores, some juniors to really fill the ranks there. But we have some talented kids, I think, that can get the job done. Defensively, our secondary, I think, is the strength of that. We have Timothy Pastron, who was our defensive newcomer of the year for our district last year, playing safety. Senior, and Cameron Payne, who I think will hold it down in the secondary also, along with the senior Adam Hall, who will be one of our top corners. Up front, we have a linebacker, Dominique, who solid kid, good in the weight room, just very respectful young man that we're excited to have, along with Jordan Dunn, who's going to be one of our D linemen to look out for. So really, things bright side optimistic, looking good. We just got to continue to work, learn the installs, learn the offense in and out, and perform at a high level has got to be our goal.
Touched on a little bit, 14 district, that means 3 district games. That means having to find 7 non-district games, and not necessarily all the districts around you are looking for a game in week 7, week 6. How hard was that to put together a schedule for the next couple of years?
Fortunately for me, that was already in the works before I got on campus. Fortunately, unfortunately, I didn't have a say in the schedule that was already put together. But I think Coach Marsh, our principal, did a great job giving us a schedule that gives us a chance as far as competitively. 7 district games, you're going to know your team before you get into that bye week in districts. So, we're looking forward to the challenge. We do have a rivalry game with Andress. We have a 6A on the schedule in Coronado. So we're going to be put to the test. With this not being able to do spring ball, we did pick up an extra scrimmage. So we are going to scrimmage Franklin High School 6A, Pebble Hills High School, another 6A. So, I really want to put the pressure on the kids and see who responds and, who we're going to be able to rely on through the duration of those 7 games, and then really getting into district and putting the team together and contending for district championships, by district championships, and going into the playoffs.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time today. Definitely helps me. I'm going a little stir crazy not being able to get out and talk with coaches and players. So thank you for your time today, and definitely we hope we're going to get to see some football on the field this fall.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.